Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching my videos. This video is the next video in the series of videos where we are looking at roles and responsibilities. You might ask what is the connection between roles and responsibilities in this video. Actually we were doing the chief officer's duty last video, and there I had mentioned that he keeps watches. So I was not very sure if the audience who was looking at those videos understand what is watchkeeping. So I just thought I will add a small sideline video on the watchkeeping. Okay, watchkeeping is actually governed by standards of training and certification of watchkeeping by IMO. This is a publication. Okay, so all these details are given in the publication. But what we are going to do is we are not going into deep of what is STCW, which I have already done a detailed video, which please go and watch. This video we are just going to see what are the watch timings. How are the timings distributed, how people actually work on board. Okay, so that's exactly what we are going to do in this video. Okay, and if you like this video and you feel this is informative, please do kindly like and share this video with all your colleagues and friends who might also get benefited from this video as like you are doing. Okay, let's go into the video. Watch duties on the ship. Watch timings on board ships. What is watchkeeping? Watchkeeping is basically a typical kind of a word for the maritime industry, where it basically denotes the timings of the office, you can say. Like we all have 8 hours office, right? So on the ships the 8 hours is divided into 2 parts. Okay, and so that you are rested in between these parts, because it is not office like where you can go out of the office and come. There is a single room and you need to be there in that room. That's called the bridge or the engine control room. Yeah, so there are 2 watches they do. The total working hours on board is divided into 2 parts. Okay, so that's what we are going to see, and we will see how it is divided between the deck and the engine side. Okay, so basically talking about watchkeeping, or rather the whole working timing of the seafarers on board ship, you see. Okay, so they have to work 24 hours a day. Okay, there are around 20 to 25 people on board at any given time. So these 25 people are distributed among 24 hours. Okay, there are some people, it is not that everybody can do watches. There are some people who can do the normal works, which is you get up in the morning and go to work at around 8-9 o'clock and then knock off at 4-5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, based on the vessel schedule. Okay, there are some people who do shifts. Okay, these people who are working normally, getting in the morning, do the day work and then knock off, they are called day workers. Okay, they are in the general shift. Okay, there are some staff which are specific who do the shifts. Okay, they work on shifts. So basically the watch arrangements is basically the shift timings, you can say, in if you want to say in layman's language. Okay, so the part who do the shifts are actually certified. Okay, if you are not certified, you cannot do the shifts. You need to do work only in the day work. There are some ships where chief officer also does day work, and you cannot tell chief officer is well certified, why is he doing day work? Again, what we are going to discuss in this is very general arrangement. I will keep explaining while I go on. If there are extra officers on board, then chief officer can do day work so that he can concentrate on the maintenance of the vessel or the cargo operation going on, so he will be on day work. Okay, so let's go to the next part, and I will keep explaining as I go through. There are 3 types of watches: navigation watch, cargo watch, and the engine room watch. Okay, so we know 2 places where the whole ship is controlled. One is the bridge, where the navigation side is controlled, and the second is the engine control room, where the engine room or the main engines which is placed there is controlled. Okay, there are these 2 places, and the third one is the cargo watch. There is the third control room called the cargo control room. So there are basically 3 control rooms. One is the bridge, which is the navigation control room. Second is the engine control room, where the main engine is controlled and the other machineries, and third is the cargo control room. So while sailing, the ship is sailing, the cargo control room is not manned, because there is no cargo operation happening during the sailing period. So that time the cargo control room is not manned. Only the bridge, which is the navigation control room, and the engine control room is manned. Okay. Watches are divided based on providing maximum break to the watchkeepers. Why the shift is divided? It is not, in the land jobs you have a single shift of 8 hours, 10 hours, something like that. But on the ships, it is a stressful job, and it is strained to keep continuous vigilant lookout. So they have given a break so that they don't do continuously 8 hours. And also you have a regulation in the standard of training and certificate in watchkeeping that they need to have a break. Okay, you cannot just continuously work for 8 hours without a break. Okay, so based on that, they have divided the shifts into two. Only certified officers and ratings can be watchkeepers. As I mentioned, everybody cannot be watchkeepers on the ship or the shift workers. They have to be certified to do that. Okay, to sit in the control room, engine control room, or the bridge, they need to be certified. Watchkeeping is the most critical operation of the ship. At sea, you can imagine, they are the eyes and ears of the vessel, the ship, which is going out at sea. They have to be very vigilant on what they are seeing. There is no brakes on the ship. I'm sure you know about this till now. And you have to be very vigilant because there is no noise, there is no traffic signals to see. It's all open ocean, and if you're not vigilant, there is a high possibility of collision if there is high traffic density in that area. Okay, so the watchkeeping in the engine control room and the navigation control room, that is the bridge, is very, very critical to the operation of the vessel. Bridge watch timings on board. Okay, this is the standard international timings which is usually maintained for the shifts, as I told you. So I'll just made a table with who does what timing and what jobs. So we have divided into 3 days. The first day, if you see, the 4 to 8 is the chief officer, and the 16 to 20. That is, this again the 4-digit nomenclature is used on the ship. We don't use morning 4 a.m. or evening 4 p.m. or something like that. We use 0400 and 1600. Okay, so the 4 to 8 watch, morning and evening, both are done by the chief officer. As I told you, chief officer sometimes can be on the day work, where he comes to work at 7 or 8 a.m. and then goes off work at 5-6 p.m. So this is in case where there are external officers, additional officers. There are some ships which have 3 officers. The structure is master, chief officer, second officer, third officer. This is the deck side. Okay, there can be in some cases where there are very heavy runs, very short runs, and the chief officer has to continuously be on the lookout for the cargo operation. In that case, there is a possibility they give an additional officer. It can be master, chief officer, second officer, third officer, or it can be master, chief officer, second officer, third officer, third officer. So there can be 2 third officers or 2 second officers. In that case, it is possible that chief officer is in the day work and the other officers do the watches. Okay. So the second watch, if you see, it is 8 to 12, is master or third officer. Master is actually always there on the ship and on the bridge most of the times. Okay, he's doing his job, because watchkeeping is a completely task which needs to be taken independently. It doesn't mean if the master is on board, he is on watch. Okay, master is doing some other job, he is sending messages to the office, or he is writing some emails. He is busy in his own job. Then third officer is the officer who is actually on the watch. If there are some small ships where there are no third officer, it can be only master, chief officer and second officer. In that case, master has to keep the 8 to 12 watch. That's why I have mentioned this master or third officer. Again, it's 8 to 12 and 2000 to the 0000. Okay, so it is basically morning 8 to 12 and evening 8 to 12 is done by the master or the third officer. Third watch is the 1200 to 1600, that is afternoon 1200 to evening 4 p.m. That is the second officer's watch. This is again very, very generalized. There can be many changes to the combination based on the ship's complement, where it is trading, what are the nationalities. There can be so many ifs and buts, but generalized, if you see, 90% of all the ships will have this arrangement. Okay, so he does the night watch or the devil's watch, which is so it's called. So 12 afternoon 12 to 16 and night 12 to morning 4. Okay, these are the 2 watches he does, second officer, second officer. So if you see, I have done 3 days, so it is all the same thing. Day 1, day 2, day 3, it is the same replica of every day, the same thing. This is the standard merchant watch system where all the ships follow this, except with few exceptions where in between they had tried. We will look at the schedule next, and this is what the bridge watch keeping looks like. Okay. Now we go to the engine room watch keeping. Before going to engine room watch keeping, I want to mention one more thing where it is only not the chief officer, third officer, master or second officer do the watch. There is one more additional rating. Okay. In the case of deck, that is the bridge, there will be a able seaman with the chief officer, or they are called the duty officers. Okay. So with the duty officer there will be a rating. His rank is called the able seaman. Able seaman is specifically certified to keep watch with the duty officer. He is not allowed to keep watch on his own. He will be a subordinate to the duty watchkeeper. Okay, so the duty officer. So there will be chief officer and AAP, master third officer and AAP, second officer and AAP. Similarly for the evening side also. But there are some ships where again the daytime where the visibility is good, the able seaman is also sent on deck to do the deck job and he does not do the watch keeping. Okay, but these are the general things how it happens on the ships. Now we go to the engine room side. Engine room watch keeping timing on board. Okay, again it's the same thing, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 4. Here the rank changes. The morning 4 to 8 is done by the second engineer. Okay, in some companies he is also called the first engineer, first assistant engineer or the second engineer. 8 to 12 is again chief engineer, fourth engineer. The engine room complement is like this: chief engineer, second engineer, third engineer, fourth engineer. Like what we had: master, chief officer, second officer, third officer. In engine room it is chief engineer, second engineer, third engineer and fourth engineer. And in some cases, again as I mentioned, it can be chief engineer, second engineer, third engineer, fourth engineer, or it can be chief engineer, second engineer, third engineer, fourth engineer, fourth engineer. So it can be doubled up in any of the junior ranks. So in that case, the second engineer goes off watch, he does the day work, and then the other 3 duty officers take up the watches. Okay. So again 4 to 8, 16 to 20 the second engineer does, 8 to 12 and 2000 to 2400 hours or 0000 is done by chief engineer or fourth engineer, and 12 to 16 and 00 to 0400 it is done by the third engineer. Again there is a rating who assists this duty officer. They are called duty engineer. There on the deck side we call them duty officer, here we call them duty engineer, and the rank here is an oiler. Okay, or able seafarer engine. Like where we are calling on deck, it is able seafarer deck. Here we call them able seafarer engine. Okay, they are there with them as a support or subordinate to the duty engineer. Okay. Now we go to the second system where it was sometimes some ships they were practiced. This is a different kind of watch arrangement what they had. So in this what happens is the chief officer comes at midnight, he stays till 6 o'clock, then he goes off. Then he comes back at 1200, he does only 2 hours watch. So he did 6 hours and he did 6 hours watch, chief officer, and then he comes at 12 o'clock and does only 2 hours watch. Then he gets a straight 12 hours break before he comes to his watch again. Okay, so he still does the 8 hours, 6 plus 2, it is 8 hours, and then from 1400 hours he comes back at 000, that is direct 10 hours break. Okay, so in this case he gets a 6 hours break here and he gets a 10-hour break there. Okay, this is exactly as per the SCW convention where they say one of the breaks should be at least 10 hours long. So that's how this is maintained. No? So similarly here, if you see the master or third officer comes at 6 o'clock and stays till 10 o'clock, and then again they come at where? They come at 2 o'clock and then they do up to 4 hours. So this is 4, this is 4. Okay, then again he comes back morning 6 o'clock. So he also gets straight 12 hours break direct. Okay, you understand this? This is 6 to 10 is 4 hours. This 14 to 18 is 4 hours. So he has completed his 8 hours, and then from evening 6 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock is the break. So he gets direct 12 hours break. Second officer, he does 10 to 12, that is 2 hours, and 6 to 12 in the evening, that is 6 hours. So total 8 hours, and again he comes back when noon. So he also gets 12 hours break. Okay, so chief officer 0 to 6 and 12 to 14, 6 plus 2 8, and he gets a 12 hours break. Okay, so similarly everybody gets one short break and one longer break. Okay, so that this arrangement is not very prevalent. I'm not sure whether it is being practiced at all in any of the ships now. It's little confusing, and because it is possible that some rare companies following this, but other companies are not doing this. So if a seafarer is going from that company to this company, he'll get confused. The whole watch arrangement is different. So I don't think this is being followed anywhere as such, but this is the way where it was proposed sometime in between, where we could have this alternate arrangement worldwide, but it never took off, and we're all following the old system. Now the same thing for the engine. It's exactly the same thing, and here we have the second engineer, chief engineer, fourth engineer, third engineer, second engineer doing 6 o'clock, and then 2 hours, 8 o'clock. It's the same cycle. You can just pause the video and go through it. It's the same as the earlier one. And again, as I mentioned, I'm not very sure, or rather I don't think this kind of watch schedule is being followed at all on any of the ships worldwide. Okay, so this completes this video for today, and I hope you have gained knowledge on how actually the watch keeping and the duties of the other seafarers work on the ship. And please do like and share this video, and I will meet you in the next one. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Take care. Bye bye.